Speaking of unfortunate turn of events, Odie Bakshi's talking about taking the supercharger off, being NA, throwing some more nitrous at it, and you could obviously see, I don't see a belt on there, so I believe, yeah, he's going NA with a lot of spray.
Well, I mean, it gives you an idea of the sophistication of the team to be able to make that kind of adjustment, right? To go from, he said, setup A to setup B, and who knows how it's going to perform, but obviously it's different than they intended. Here we go.
Vaughn Gittin Jr. will lead. That Monster Energy Nitto Tire Ford Performance Mustang RTR ready to rock. Odie Bakshi is our current points leader. Can he hold on to that lead? Initiated into the bank goes Vaughn Gittin Jr. No goggles necessary. It's not wet. You can see smoke is being created. Now coming down into the power alley. Odie Bakshi seems to be hanging on. Yeah, a lot of handbrake pulls as I'm hearing Ryan Lontaine elaborate on this as Vaughn Gittin Jr. comes into that last outside zone, and hey, not too shabby for Odie Bakshi, who's definitely taking a couple hits.
Not too shabby, but I think honestly he's probably at 85%.
Yeah, right.
Right? I mean, he would have been door to door on the big bank there and reeling in Vaughn just from what we've seen in the past. But Vaughn is putting down an incredible lead run. You can see Odie is on a shallower line, shallower angle. He has to kind of do that in order to stay in some relative distance to Vaughn Gittin Jr., but Vaughn is really doing almost everything you could possibly want from the lead driver out front to give Odie an opportunity to chase. He's throttling through outside zone 2 and 3, decelling in the right area, back on throttle through this inside clip. Odie is keeping pretty good proximity here, but you can tell he's fighting for this. He really wants to get close, but obviously the car is not 100% clearly, both aesthetically and from what he reported to us during the break. So I think Vaughn's got an advantage here, but you know, Odie could pull this one off if he's able to put down a good lead and force some airs on Vaughn Gittin Jr. in the chase.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see how Odie goes out front and how he gets down. And you're right, Ryan, just going, you know, judging Odie versus Odie in previous, you know, St. Louis and even into last year, the Odie's chase runs have just become some of the best. I mean, I would say him and Osbo, percentage-wise, just seem to have just the closest proximity and consistency in the chase position. I mean, not taking away anything from other drivers, but, you know, between Osbo and Odie, they always seem to just rise to the occasions. But right now, here we go, Odie out front, Vaughn Gittin Jr. This might be a good opportunity for Vaughn to seize the moment and attack, as there we go. Look at that, and there, that's exactly what I would assume he was going to do.
Careful.
Woo! Vaughn Gittin Jr. dancing with the devil being Odie as we bring it into the power alley, exiting out. And Odie Bakshi's keeping it consistent, filling those outside zones, but Vaughn Gittin Jr. right there, shoving that chrome nose right next to Odie Bakshi's. Unbelievable.
Well, that's pretty typical Vaughn Gittin Jr., classic Vaughn Gittin Jr. that we've known from many, many years of drifting, putting the pressure on as the chase driver against right now the series leader. This is a huge battle for championship implications. And with his teammate Chelsea Denofa going out, Vaughn trying to make up some ground in the championship himself. He's currently sitting right now at 13th place. This is a huge opportunity for him to capture some much needed points in round 3. And he may have been doing just that right here, especially towards the end, really putting the pressure on. So the bank was a great job in mimicking the line and angle and keeping that pressure on. And the duration of proximity here was also pretty consistent. And the judges will certainly lean towards that. If they have to pick duration over surging and backing off, they will take duration all day long. And so Vaughn did a pretty quality job there in the chase position.
Yeah, that was absolutely impressive, and that's exactly what I thought Vaughn Gittin Jr. was going to do. But look, I mean, that was a great shot. Did you see that overhead? Odie Bakshi's car he was crab walking. Here we go, slide him left for Vaughn. Gittin Jr. gets the win, knocking out our points leader. Ryan fixated on that one battle. You forget that, hey, FYI, you got a whole nother day of competition tomorrow and a whole nother round tomorrow.
Yeah, it's a whole new realm of mental and physical capacity needed for these doubleheader rounds. But as we see the battle in front of us here, Vaughn Gittin Jr. versus Kazuya Taguchi, both drivers making their way into a very important part of competition.
Two very different styles, man.
Two very different styles. You know, pure Japanese making his way over, doing a great job building his program. and the 2010 champion. Here we go.
Vaughn Gittin Jr. will lead that Monster Energy Nano Tire Ford Performance Mustang RTR. Kazuya Taguchi, up garage, GT Rado S15 jumps back in that VR-powered vehicle. Vaughn consistent. Look at that, man. Seeing some corrections from the front wheels, but he is hammering down the professional fun hammer transitions into that third outer zone, dialing in on the inside clip. And number 4, OZ, that outer zone, Kazuya Taguchi, taking that three-wheel motion from Vaughn Gittin Jr., man. He is rocking and rolling all over the track there, Ryan.
Yeah, that was a really good start here to the battle. Let's take a look at this and see how Vaughn did up on that big bank as he came through the camera that we have attached to the wall there. It looked like he could have been a little bit higher on a higher line. Yeah, you can see that as he comes down off the bank. Kazuya Taguchi adjusts, and now he's trying to catch up and drop in and keep the pressure on. But see that straightening right there? Loses a little bit of angle against Vaughn right before inside clip number 1, and then comes off outside zone 4, doesn't follow Vaughn all the way out there. Let's take a look from the drone. You get a better perspective up top. See, Vaughn is still a little bit off of the wall, comes off that zone early. That's an area where Taguchi can actually make up some ground relative to Vaughn in his lead run, but Taguchi right there makes that mistake, leaving outside zone 3, and then in 4, he cuts in really tight, and then Vaughn is still going deep into that section while Taguchi was not able to follow him out.
Yeah, just, again, the observation there, especially with that overhead drone shot, is you see the line that Vaughn's taking. We'd like to see him hang out on that wall more, drag that bumper along, hang out, and then drop down. He's going from, you know, he's just cutting the apex of that turn, going from the bank down to the infield, and the judges really want to see them hang it out and then come down and transition to the power alley. And I think that's a line that both Chelsea and him are taking, so we'll see how the outcome goes. Again, Kazuya did have some mistakes, but he's probably going to tighten it up here now that he's out front. Vaughn Gittin Jr. in the rearview mirror. Let's see how the chrome nose throws down. Kazuya Taguchi, you can see mimicking the angle is Vaughn Gittin Jr. really high as Taguchi, and there he hangs it out. Comes down a little bit early as well, and that's, I see a head shaking here from Ryan Lantagne as we come down now into that front clip, and now one more outside zone. Taguchi, wow, gets all the way out there. Quick little correction, avoid the wall, and gets up into the jump.
Well,
wow.
Taguchi had the right strategy there to try to better Vaughn on the big bank, but Vaughn was not giving him an inch. Let's revisit here what happened. See, Taguchi is right up against the wall, and Vaughn is trying to keep that line and angle consistent. Taguchi comes off very early. Here it is again from another angle. You can see that Vaughn kind of dives in. He's starting to reel him in here. Taguchi's nice and high on the bank. Then he really kicks the angle out, comes in really tight, and he completely blows through outside zone number 2, gets back to 3, and luckily Vaughn was able to make a quick adjustment and follow Taguchi's line. I think the chase run from Vaughn was stronger than Taguchi's chase run, and it's really going to come down to those leads. Here's one more shot as we take a look at how Vaughn approached Taguchi as he was coming off the bank. See, Vaughn also angles up, and he smartly follows him on the line that Taguchi is driving. Otherwise, Taguchi may have been able to get away a little bit more aggressively by driving through that center section. So the judge is now taking both runs into account, and we'll see who's moving on.
All right, overhead shot here, seeing the 2010 champ, Vaughn Gittin Jr. against Taguchi. Been competing in Formula Drift for a few years here. This is our final battle of the Grade 8 already in. Michael Essa, Frederick Osbo, Dai Yoshihara, all champions. Will another champion join them, or will Kazuya Taguchi spoil the party? Here we go. Slide him left for Vaughn Gittin Jr., right for Kazuya Taguchi. And Vaughn Gittin Jr. gets Chris Yule's vote. Lantagne says one more time. And Brian Egger says Vaughn Gittin Jr. So, Yoshihara, Vaughn Gittin Jr., there are the numbers. There are the stats. 2 champions going against each other. Vaughn Gittin Jr., you know, Vaughn, as cool and calm as he seems, a little frazzled. Doesn't seem 100% as far as, like you said, very frustrating, difficult weekend. You know, wants to get his nerves, get them all together, and here we go. Dai Yoshihara, again, 2 very different styles. Dai Yoshihara, very smooth. Vaughn Gittin Jr. looks like he's coming in violent with that Ford Mustang, and here we go. Dai initiates the turn 14 distribution. Oh, and there we go. That is what Vaughn Gittin Jr. was looking for. Looks like he found the secret ingredient. as now comes in that second outside zone, transitioning, throws it to the door. Risk it for the biscuit as Dai Yoshihara brings it around, and Vaughn Gittin Jr. whips it into that final outside zone. Ryan, great chase job there by Vaughn, but again, the great lead run will result in a phenomenal chase.
Yeah, Vaughn is kind of on one today, and unfortunately he's also going up against a driver that just seems to pull speed out of everywhere. And we talked about the fluidity, the consistency, and the style of Daijiro Yoshihara, and it's really going up against the brute strength and power of Vaughn Gittin Jr. Here it is from above first. You can see that surging attack by Vaughn, but it's clean, right? Like, he's not really making too many angle adjustments there. He gets a great jump on Dai. Now let's see where Dai is up on relative to the bank. So he's nice and high on that highest white line. That's where that one little correction that Vaughn had to make to back off for a second, but then he gets right back on it to follow Dai into outside zone 2. Both drivers do that pretty well. Vaughn a little bit tighter on outside zone number 3, with Dai maybe getting the better of that section, and then a great job by Dai on outside zone 4, but Vaughn follows up trying to close the door towards the end. So a very competitive battle here to kick things off in the final 4.
Here we go, alternating the order. Vaughn Gittin Jr. getting the clean air, the RTR, Signature Grill RTR for a new generation of Ford tuning. We see, again, from drift to dirt, Vaughn Gittin Jr. giving away some vehicles there, courtesy of Ford. And here we go, Vaughn Gittin Jr. out front. Get those big Nitto tire meat hooks closer to that wall. Dai Yoshihara dropping back quite a bit as Vaughn really riding that wall, making those banners flap, make them flap. In that second outside zone, bringing in, here comes Dai. Vaughn Gittin Jr. Oh, and Dai has to back off as Vaughn continues on. Who's going to the finals? Who's going against Osbo? Gittin or Yoshihara?
The 2010 and 2011 champion doing battle here, veterans of the sport. And Vaughn comes out swinging on run number 2 as well. The initiation really gave him a good advantage to get some separation from Dai, who was kind of playing catch-up on a lot of the bank. When you think about catch-up, you're only talking about a car length or so, but remember how close Vaughn was on his chase run. And then finally, Dai is able to close the door coming off the zone, but by this time, Vaughn has really reached deep into outside zones 2 and 3, and then you see an angle mistake there, surging forward from Daijiro Yoshihara. So if Vaughn won the battle of the chases, it's going to come down to the leads, and this is an incredible lead run from Vaughn Gittin Jr.
Yeah, really, really well done here. Lantain, jump in here, bud.
That was an incredible lead run from Vaughn. He was high on the wall. He was above that dotted line for the most part, and he was on throttle and very fast. Dai has been keeping up to everybody, mostly on that bank, and he had a gap established between himself and Vaughn Gittin Jr. because Vaughn is just on throttle. His angle was set. He was looking phenomenal. He filled the zones better than Dai did, I think, in the lead position, and I think it's going to go his way.
Yes, it will. There you go. Vaughn Gittin Jr. gets the win and is going to the finals. He's guaranteed a podium. Like you said, you know, wants to get on the box, wants to get in there. Woo! Is his exclamation point there, Ryan.
Yeah, you know, when Vaughn gets on a hot one, it is really hard to imagine him kind of stopping. This reminds me of
Toyota and Ford. Who's going to come out on top, Ryan? Any foreshadowing here? Any kind of looking into your crystal ball? What do you think? What do you expect?
I don't really think we got the battle that we wanted in St. Louis, but today's competitor, meaning Vaughn Gittin Jr. and Frederick Osbo here in Seattle at Evergreen Speedway, seems more like what we saw towards the end of 2 years ago at Irwindale Speedway. I would like to see that again. The one more times that we saw where Osbo was on the verge of a championship and Vaughn Gittin Jr. took him out.
Well, I think it's really going to come down to be honest, a driver beating themselves and making that major mistake. That's the way Vaughn has progressed through the day. Like I said, when he talked to Lorette, he seemed a bit frazzled. He was a little frustrated with the vehicles, and I mean, he trusts his equipment, don't get me wrong, but it seems that now he's just really got it dialed. Freddie and Frederick Osbo, seems cool, calm, collected. Just the posture there between the two drivers. I would say Freddie seems a little bit more calm, but you know what? If Vaughn can harness that energy and then just focus it here on track, he might get the win. Here we go. Vaughn Gittin Jr. will lead. Frederick Osbo will give chase. Vaughn Gittin Jr. the Monster Energy Ford Mustang throws it in. The Rockstar Energy Drink Toyota GR Supra, and there it is, focusing that energy, bring it all the way through, locked and loaded. Vaughn with that wide swing into that second outside zone, through the power alley. Goes Vaughn, bigger angle. Osbo does gain the proximity, but look at Vaughn just hooking up and pulling out of that outer zone. Vaughn Gittin Jr., the best run definitely we've seen from him today, and that is when he needs to get it done, Ryan.
I mean, the car looks extremely well set up, and when was the last time you saw any kind of gap being pulled on Frederick Osbo? Let's see how deep Vaughn gets into outside zone 1. See, the front wheel is nice and high.
No corrections.
He's a little bit lower than you'd like him to be, so Osbo has an opportunity to make a difference there. He's not all the way up against the wall, but he is still pulling a gap on Osbo, which means Osbo got caught sleeping a little bit, or the setup might need to be adjusted to bring a little bit more grip there. Osbo has been door-to-door with everybody in those sections, those very important sections of the course. Now Osbo's back on it. Both drivers doing a great job here, but Osbo comes up a little bit tight on that final outside zone. So there is a window of opportunity here for Vaughn Gittin Jr. We just saw the chase from Frederick Osbo, slightly uncharacteristic, but now Osbo's got a chance to do what he's been doing all weekend, which is those really solid, clean lead runs to see how Vaughn can adapt.
And man, that Vaughn run there was very impressive. But we know Frederick, you know, I'm really surprised Frederick wasn't closer to, Lantain and I are over here chatting. And I mean, what is expected of these drivers is very impressive, and they do deliver. So this is exactly, you know, just a testament to the talent, the builds of the teams, and just overall the equipment, the aftermarket, just overall just Formula Drift and the progression of it is very impressive. So I'm definitely, you know, me personally, I'm proud to be part of this Formula Drift family, and just the overall cars are insane, Ryan. Ryan, you don't agree?
No, I was hearing something come over the comms. I think they were going to take another look at what's happening here on course as we go and pick a few things up. This is what you were talking about, though, right? We have not really seen anything like this. Now, in a normal battle, you would say that's a pretty decent chase, but from what we've come to expect from Frederick Osbo, it's slightly out of character. Now, Vaughn doesn't get all the way completely to outside zone 3, but he is laying down a solid, clean lead run and leaving open opportunities for Osbo to chase and close the door, but Osbo didn't really do it in the way that we typically see it.
All right, so a little bit of track debris there. We cleaned up. Frederick Osbo's getting the clean air out the nose of that brand new Toyota GR Supra. Spray away there, Vaughn Gittin Jr. You're going to need all that nitrous here to hang with Freddie. The Rockstar Energy Drink Toyota GR Supra. Both these guys on Nitto tires. Nitto tires guaranteed to get the win. Frederick Osbo and a tap of the wall there by Freddie. First time I've seen him tap the wall of that Supra, and now coming down into the power alley. Let's see how they transition. Vaughn Gittin Jr. jumps to the side of him. Good proximity there. Let's see how the transition goes down in this final outer zone. Both Freddie and Vaughn Gittin Jr. And one more jump, or are we going to see him go again? Ryan, what warrants the chuckles? Just an awesome battle?
Well, yeah, I mean, that was awesome.
That was sick.
What was surprising to me, and we probably won't see this on the replay, but Vaughn was not really anxious to get out of the gate, and that tells me that he thinks his car has got a little bit more speed than Osbo's. Now, he wasn't completely door-to-door on the bank, but he kept the proximity pretty tight here. Osbo, great job on outside zones 2 and 3, but Vaughn matching that angle, closing the door on inside flip number 1. Good flick back around from Osbo, but here comes Vaughn. Follows him deep into outside zone 4, which Osbo did not do.
That was really, really good. I mean, watch Osbo tap it. You see the trunk get affected.
I think
there.
Vaughn may have tapped it too.
Yeah, look. I mean, talk about chasing. You know, hey, you tap? All right, I'll tap too. Like little toe tap, little clip snap. As we bring it into that power alley, really well done. Look at maxing out that angle as Freddie. Like you said, Freddie did get out to that third outside zone, but watch Vaughn Gittin Jr. just massage the back end of that Mustang there. That was really well done, and you didn't see a lot of handbrake in order to do that. So that side bite really got him there, and those Nitto tires hooked up to just get him where he needed to be, Ryan. We'll see let's check out the BC Racing side-by-side instant replay here. Do you guys think we have a winner? What's going on in the chat? Let us know. Who do you think won? Is it Vaughn Gittin Jr. or Frederick Osbo? As we're waiting for the side-by-side there, Matt Sopa on the ropa, keeping it clean down there. Remember, tomorrow, tune in, round 4, the Formula Drift Pro Championship. After this, we'll be giving away the trophies down on the podium. Michael Essa grabbing 3rd spot. Here's our BC Racing side-by-side instant replay.
So let's take a look at Osbo up on the right. Lead runs. In terms of depthness to the wall or proximity to the wall, seem pretty similar. Vaughn on outside zones 2 and 3, pretty good there in his lead run. Proximity a little bit more apparent there from Vaughn on the last section of the course going into outside zone 4. And man, they are going so fast. It's actually hard to move your eyes backward, back and forth.
I let one eye go lazy and I just look at that right, and then this
kind of do that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Dual processing.
Yeah.
Well, if we do have a winner, you know that we will bring all 3 cars down in front of the empty grandstands and produce.
Not empty. We got friends and family and some staff, but
we got 60 people here.
Yeah, exactly. But everybody's watching online and waiting for them to input their scores and the verdict. Do you guys think we have a winner? Or are we going one more time? Oh, and we have a winner. We have a winner. We'll bring them here in front of the grandstands. We'll bring our 3 drivers. Pretty insane driving. What the Farouk. We'll see you tomorrow here at round 4. Seen a lot of these drivers hanging out, watching, spectating, and cheering on their friends or their enemies. Amy Bakshish, Odie's wife and spotter, cheering them on. Got the Hughes, mom and dad. Dayton do a backflip. And it is not unanimous, is what we are hearing. Not unanimous. Oh. All right, we are bringing those 2 vehicles. It ended up being a dry day here. Larry Chen grabbing the shots as we bring these 2 former champions out here on track. Some celebratory donuts from these 2 gentlemen. Congratulations to these 2 drivers, these 2 former champs, and it's an all former champ podium. All right, we'll bring him up. And again, make some noise for him. 3rd place here at round 3. 3rd place at round 3 of the Formula Drift Pro Championship. Piloting the FCP Euro, Liqui Moly, BMW on Achilles tires. Make some noise for Michael Essa. All right, and now your winner here at round 3 of the Formula Drift Pro Championship. Make some noise for both drivers as they step outside of their vehicle. Make some noise for Vaughn Gittin Jr. and Frederick Osbo. All right, your winner here. Overall, again, a former champ. Your winner on Nitto Tires. Sponsored by an energy drink company. And they're here in the building. Your winner here at round 3 of the Formula Drift Championship. It was not unanimous. One of the judges went one more time, and the other 2 chose. As we slide them over, you'll see anytime. One more time from Chris Ewell. Ryan Lontaine says Vaughn Gittin Jr. and the winner of round 3 is Vaughn Gittin Jr. gets the win here at round 3 of the Formula Drift Pro Championship. Vaughn Gittin Jr. gets the win. That means 2nd place goes to the Rockstar Energy Drink Toyota Racing GR Supra of Frederick the Norwegian Hammer Osbo. 2nd place for Frederick Osbo here at round 3 of the FD Championship. Lorette Nickel, I'm throwing it down to you. What does Vaughn Gittin Jr. have to say other than, woo?
Well, Vaughn told us that he was super frustrated with his results in St. Louis. Vaughn, it feels like this was really redemptive and a really emotional moment for you right now. What are you processing?
I just miss my family. I've been on the road for 10 days, running hard. I miss my wife, I miss my boy, and I'm just so grateful for this team. We show up today, we made some mistakes early on. We reset in the middle of the day and made it happen. And I'm elated right now. I'm just really proud. It's been a rough couple years. You know, we haven't gotten the results that we've worked for, and we put our heads down and got to work on the off season and made some changes. And the team is pushing me out of my comfort zone the last couple years, and I'm getting back to where I know I should be, and obviously where I am. So I'm just extremely grateful. You know, it was a rough year. I'm missing all the fans that are usually here screaming for us, the families that we've watched, you know, grow old here. You know, so just a lot of good positive thoughts right now, and I'm just pumped and grateful for all you watching at home and supporting us through this wild year. And what a run! I mean, it was. Yeah, that thing doesn't have too much more in it, and we went for it. So yeah, I'm just pumped.
I'm so glad for you, and I'm so happy for you. And, you know, today the weather has been so inconsistent, and the temperatures are dropping. It's getting quite cold. And on such a treacherous track, how did you stay clean out here?
Yeah, it was tough. Like, this was seriously one of the toughest events I've ever run in. And I think you talk to any driver, they'll agree. There's nothing consistent about it. So you're learning as you go. Really grateful to have you know, another teammate, Chelsea, who's been just an incredible addition to our team. And, you know, we're just, you know, in Seattle, I'm looking out for him, he's looking out for me, and we're just, you know, vibing off each other and learning. So that is a huge ticket to something like this, where it's wet and dry and patchy. The other thing is patience. You know, this track only came to us the last 2-3 rounds, and you had to just be patient in the wet spots, or else you were just going to take yourself out. So for me, it was just focus and just staying where I needed to be here. That's because you know, that's the only thing that can take us out. Is at least my personal feeling, and it feels good. I miss you, Abby and Gunnar. I love you guys.
All right, congratulations to Vaughn Gittin Jr., your winner of round 3. Jared?
Thank you so much, Lorette. Congratulations, Vaughn Gittin Jr., Frederick Osbo, Michael Essa. We'll give out the trophies off camera, but an amazing day. Remember, we do it all again tomorrow. Ryan, your thoughts here at round 3?
Yeah, strong performances today from Vaughn Gittin Jr. That was definitely a throwback to seasons in the past and what we saw in the rivalry that had developed over the years between him and Frederick Osbo. It's a brand new day tomorrow. All new drivers, all new cars coming back, getting a refresher overnight, and it's not going to be a couple weeks. It's going to be less than 24 hours. Yep. So we saw some carnage, we saw a little bit of rain, but now the championship chase is being thrown in the mix here as drivers have shaken things up. We saw top guys go out early, and tomorrow we will close it out here at Evergreen Speedway. That's right. So again, we'll see you guys tomorrow for round 4 of the Formula Drift Pro Championship. Some exciting, awesome highlights. We'll be back here again on behalf of the whole Formula Drift staff, the judges, Ryan Sage and Lorette Nickel. I'm Jared Deanna. We'll see you online. We'll see you another time. Send it, Formula Drift.